welcome back to They Did What, your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'll be continuing on with what I did earlier 1 hour ago, and I appreciate your patience in that. And this is part 32 of the story. While wife thought her affair was going unnoticed, husband was playing the long game, preparing for war. And in the last episode that ended an hour ago, our guy here was sitting down with Emily after a year. Oh, gee, a lot of fun. And asking her all the questions and all that. And then the pastor, Jay, is there and just gave this long, ridiculous reason of why she did the whole thing. And, I don't trust her further. I can throw her. But we're going to continue on with his whole conversation with her and all that and wrap this up. He also asked her, what would you do if the roles were reversed? In light of her previous answer, I declined to ask this question for obvious reasons. I figured she'd say she felt she deserved it and would try to reconcile with me if I cheated on her. I said, how many times did you cheat on me before John? I also didn't ask this question either. Although I didn't waste our time for, but I'll read it. After hearing her answer about why she did it, I realized there's no satisfactory answer to this question. If she said no, I wouldn't believe her. If she said yes, congratulations. I bought myself another haunted little movie theater in my skull. If she said not physically, then I'd spend the next 6 months thinking about every wedding, every late client appointment, every guy who ever looked at her in the gym for half a second. I'm divorced, the marriage is dead, and I came there for whatever kind of closure I could get, not starting an effing Law and Order episode in my own head. She's already cheated on me enough times. Well, frankly, I think that she was cheating on him long before, and I know you guys did too, but he's right. He's divorced now, the marriage is dead, move the fuck on. Did you enjoy it? He actually asked her that, and she actually answered. She says, yes, at first. The attention, not the man. Right there. Holy crap, hear that car? That's probably the most honest thing she ever said. It was all about the attention. Yep, attention and validation is a drug. It curdled by the second month, and she kept going anyway because she figured she deserved to feel shitty about herself. The pregnancy thing. She said it was the part that she's most ashamed about more than the affair. That she thought a baby would make John back off and make her a good person again in one move. She says she's grateful every day it didn't work. I asked if she thought about what she would have done to me, raising a kid on top of that lie. She said yes, every night. That's why she couldn't sleep for the longest time. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. She doesn't care. I then asked her, do you still think about John? Like a car accident, she still feels chills, and bad kind of chills. She's trying to hold that he's a predator and that she did this with both hands. I'll give her that. She's never once let herself off the hook in that room. Every time an answer drifted towards victim, she pulled it back herself before I had to. I also said to her, also, you owe me $10,000. I told her about the IRS. She went white. She says, you already signed the indemnification, and I won't pay a cent. It's all on her. Then she apologized again. Now, the other questions you guys told me to ask. Yeah, she better give that freaking money. 3 things that she liked about the relationship. Oh, God. She said she enjoyed having the full attention of a distinguished, successful man, and they would have great conversations about being small business owners, and he helped her face the hurdles that she had when the business was flagging. He calmed her down and made her feel better about facing the future. Yeah. Let's get back to the whole attention thing that she got. Attention and validation. The second thing she enjoyed was the escape. When she was out at the boutiques and the Michelin star restaurants, she wasn't anybody's wife or daughter or a person with a failing business. She wasn't required to be perfect at everything. It took a while to come up with a third thing, but she said it was the secrecy of having something special that no one else knew about. At the time, it felt like she was in control, even though she now realizes that she wasn't ever in control. Again, I said a couple times in the last video, and I'll say it again. The bees be crazy. 3 things you liked about John. She could only come up with 2. Okay, the last thing was about the relationship. This is about John. First, that he would decide things, and they would happen almost without fail. It turns out that he was pretty much a spoiled brat who never was told no, and used his money, personality, and position to browbeat people and situations to turn out in his favor. But at the beginning, it seemed very powerful. I'm not surprised there. He was perceived as an alpha male, got his way, took charge, people gave him what he wanted. You get the point. Second, he was generous with his friends and subordinates, and of course Emily. She realized that in her case, at least, his generosity has strings attached, but it wasn't that like that in the beginning. It was like that in the beginning. It was, you think he was being so generous so he wasn't going to get any nookie? Yeah, at the beginning he was doing it because he knew eventually he'd be getting nookie out of it. Come on, dumbass. She knows that. I asked her what Bev would say the third thing is. And she thought a little and then said that Bev would say that she liked that he was rich and that it felt good being kept by him. Emily said that Bev would be right, but the thought of it makes her sick. Having a no-limit credit card thrown at her felt more real than everyday little things it did for her. Right there, now we're getting down to it. Money and attention validation. Can't make this shit up. At least she's saying things that one could say this is truthful, what we all know. At this point, I really wanted to leave, but I promised myself I'd see it through. I was shaking my head at the time, and I guess I must have looked pretty disgusted because she said, "I'm sorry," very loudly and started crying. Go back handbook chapter 2. The next ones were easier for her to answer. Things she did not like about the relationship. Well, that's going to be easy. Now she can make him out to be the villain. The constant lying to me, having to keep track of her bullshit. Eventually, their Fridays trysts were like shifts that she had to work, and she hated looking in the hotel bathroom mirror afterwards so much that she deliberately would avoid looking at herself. But she kept going back because she deserved to feel shitty about herself. Whatever, sweetheart. Next question. Things she didn't like about John. Oh, she can go on forever here, because now he's the villain. Because he made her do it. He would get cold and pouty when she would say something good about me or share with him something funny that I said. She figured early on that she should stop talking about me. It got possessive the further along the relationship went, which only increased the more she'd pull away. He would cruelly talk crap about Lisa and his kids, and the other people who worked for him behind their backs would be so sweet and nice to their faces. As it went on, it became clear that he probably liked shit about her. He probably talked shit about her to other people as well. Well, not to people like this do. The way some of his closest buddies looked at her made her think that he was probably bragging about effing her to them. Well, no shit. If they're scumbags like him, you bet your ass he was bragging about it. What was her favorite memory with John? She said that her favorite times were when they would just talk as friends and he'd listen. There were Friday afternoons where John couldn't perform for some reason. And then they ended up talking for a few hours while they were there. She said that she knew at the time that she could have talked to me, but therapy helped her realize the depths of betrayal involved talking immediately with a man that she was effing behind my back. The fact that it became apparent with this is all manipulation of her by him really wrecked her later on. The worst memory. She said the worst memory was New Year's Eve. The fact that he deliberately kept her from going home to me by midnight, the fact that he was looking at her while on FaceTime while his family after effing her and Lisa in John's bed, and he got pissy with her when she demanded to be taken back to her car immediately after his call with Lisa ended. And finally that she had to come home to face me and lie to me about missing the countdown just to have me accuse her of cheating on me. She said she panicked and knew I'd divorce her if she admitted anything. At that point we broke, so we took a break so we could go to the restroom. I got some church coffee and burned the shit out of my mouth with it. Then we sat down and Emily asked me some questions. So this should be good. Remember, guys, you get your money's worth today. She asked, why didn't you ever yell at me? Yes, because if he yelled at her, that could make her feel like crap, like she deserved it, because she thought she was shit, therefore she should have been yelled at. Back in my nice guy days, I had a girl literally tell me to yell at her, because she was being such an asshole. And I wouldn't do it because I was such a nice guy. She's like, yell at me. Now I understand this part. She said she has trauma, not just from the affair, but from my silence and abandonment. See how powerful silence is, guys? I served her at a salon and vanished and never once raised my voice. I didn't yell when she burned everything. I didn't say anything when she read me the confession. I just looked at her and then I just stopped looking at her at all. She said she had to fill the silence herself with every worst thing I might be thinking, and that not knowing was worse than anything that I could have said. See, the power of silence and walking away. They want the drama. They want the fight. That one day she had a husband planning a vacation and a child, and the next day there was just a hole where a person used to be. The only hole in this story is her, an asshole. Then she found out about Shreya. The picture of me laughing at a Diwali party with my arms sort of near another woman, who was gorgeous. Right there. Remember she saw the picture of Shreya on social media? And Shreya was a little hottie? I wonder what Shreya's doing right now. sure you guys can all speculate. But because she was gorgeous, that pissed her off even more. Best way to get even, guys, is a successful life. And if you're going to have a relationship, have a girl that's hotter and younger than your previous girlfriend or wife. That'll piss them off. She said she knew she had no right to be hurt by it, and she was destroyed by it anyway, because I was really starting my life over and leaving her behind. No shit, asshole. Of course he left her behind. I told her I didn't yell because if I started, I didn't know if I'd stop. And I was more afraid of the second thing, which would she'd explain and cry. And sit there being excessively beautiful, and I'd let her talk to me into staying. The silence wasn't strength. I said it before, called it strength. Put it in a little list of lessons like a wise man. It was not. Well, regardless, your silence made her crazy, so good for you. Not for me. It was the only way I knew how to not fall apart, and it was the only way I knew how to leave before the part of me still loved her could rationalize a do-over. I told her about the video on YouTube I watched about how silence is the way to punish someone who cheats on you. Hey, did you get that from me? And there was definitely some hatred and spite involved in it. I explained about loving and hating at the same time, and how my therapist calls it ambivalence. Her next question for him was, did you ever anytime consider reconciling with me? Ooh. I said I did at the very, very beginning after first finding out about the affair. I tried to figure out a way to still be with her, even looking into hypnosis like I could get hypnotized into forgetting about her cheating. I looked it up on the internet. The answer is that hypnosis is 90% bullshit. Now I just can't do it. I told her I will always love her to a degree because we spent literally half our lives being in love with each other. I can't just shut it off. But I told her I really want to shut it off. I dream about shutting it off. I'm looking forward to the day that it is completely shut off. I can't be with her because I don't trust her. I will never fully trust her. I also said I had mind movies of her with John. See? That stuff never stops, guys. I went into vivid detail about picturing their sex and her coming home and kissing me with John's taste in her mouth and going down on him. Pastor Jay's face started looking very uncomfortable, and it looked like he was going to call an audible, so I stopped. He probably did the sign of the cross when he said that. Emily had her head in her hands, and I told her I'm sorry, but that's who I see when I look at her now. Whew! Ouch! At this point, she kind of shrugged and gave me a folder that contained a detailed plan of reconciliation that she already knew was futile. It had phrases, financial plans, division of labor, considerations for my career development, therapy for couples and individual, living arrangements, like living in the same apartment building but different apartments during one phase, exit ramps every phase. It was impressive. No, just give me a folder with a big giant check in it, Emily, and we can be done with this shit. I told her I believe that she's probably changed. No, she hasn't. She hasn't changed. But I do not trust that she's changed. I told her it's one thing to promise me the moon right now when she's desperate. But what happens when she has me, and it's a year from now, or 2 years from now, and we slid into complacency? Yes, the same thing will happen again. She really thought she could get him back with her little folder of solutions. Couples all over the world slide into complacency at some point. Well, that is true, for good or bad. But they have that baseline of loyalty that they don't cross because they have basic human integrity. She already crossed it. When we start getting lazy with our relationship, and it will happen probably with some guy might come along and give her the forbidden tingles again, will she have the ability to stop that shit before it develops? Nope, because she needs to then again reinforce what she thinks about herself, that she's shit, and therefore she has to behave in a shitty manner. It will happen again. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Basically, she's already proven to me that she doesn't have the particular tools in her toolbox. But now I have to trust that she won't do it in the future, and I just can't do that. I can't and will not risk with my self-respect and sanity. If I went back to her and we reconciled and she cheated again on me, it would effing end me, and I'm not going to open myself up to the possibility ever. Yeah, dude, and after 32 videos, I would truly find this dude and smack the shit out of him, put it on YouTube. And don't worry, he's not going to take her back. I've probably already gone into too much boring detail, but we just volleyed back and forth until Pastor J said we were effectively at standstill. Thank heavens, Dr. J. She's the cowboy president, and I'm the crazy religious theocracy at the negotiating table. At that point, we signed 3 copies of the agreement that said we did the meeting and it was successful. All 3 were notarized, and I got one of them and a cashier's check and a bottle of 4 roses. Hallelujah! You got your money, now get out of there. At this point, I asked her if she called me on New Year's. She looked confused and told me no. I must have looked like I didn't believe her. I didn't, because she got a little annoyed and said at that point, at the end of the meeting, after I got the check, she didn't have any reason to lie about it to me. I asked her if it could have been the mother-in-law, and she said maybe, but I don't think the mother-in-law was tech-savvy enough to know about burner phones. She did it. After I mentioned mother-in-law, Emily begged me not to cut off the mother-in-law. She said the mother-in-law had been depressed and looking at all the photos of Emily and me together that I sent over after I cleaned the house a while back. She misses me and wants to have a kind of a relationship with me. Emily says her mom is angry with her because her bullshit cost her mom a relationship with me. I told her I'd think about it. I wasn't in the frame of mind to commit to anything. This guy needs to move on completely, and he's doing a good job, but he can't move on fully from Emily in his life by having a relationship with a mother-in-law. I shook Pastor Jay's hand. He led another prayer, which I bowed my head and said amen to, said goodbye to mother-in-law and father-in-law, and they handed me a signed indemnification for the tax thing. I don't think it means shit to the IRS, but I'm hoping to attach it to my IRS spouse tax relief form somehow. At the very least, I can sue her in court if I have to pay. I told Emily good luck, and I meant it, and I still do. I calmly walked out of my car and got in and proceeded to cry my eyes out alone for a few minutes, because that's what you do when something you love dies and you attend the funeral. It's all right, man. Now you get to go home and have some of that good bourbon. You cry. This is a long-ass post, and I'm sorry about that. No problem, brother. We're all here for you. After sitting in the car for a while, all I can say is I'm mostly satisfied. I'm not going to meet up with Emily again. Let's just say that I turned down her social media request. She sent a friend request after this. Good God. Mother-in-law called me up this morning, and we plan on having lunch next week. Bro, oh yeah. Not a good idea. I told her ahead of time that I don't want to hear about Emily. We'll see about that, amigo. Now we know what the next post is going to be about. I think I feel sorry for Emily. Smack! Do not feel sorry for her. But not enough to have any kind of relationship with her going forward. Not for the foreseeable future. Smack! There shouldn't be any relationship with her. I don't think she sees me as a person or husband, that she just wants me because it'll make her feel good about herself. Not because she wants me as a person. Good luck, Emily. I really do mean that. I hope whatever is broken in you gets fixed and you live a nice life, but it will not be with me. Amen. He also says, Raisin and I have a third date plan. She says she wants to make me food. And he says, chicken rice, whatever. That sounds a hell of a lot healthier than whatever curry I used to have with Shreya. I'm satisfied. I'm moving forward. Thank y'all. There you go, guys. The big day. It's going to be two-parter in this whole long thing. Well, I'm glad he got it over with. He got paid. Now, for God's sakes, he had no reason to have any contact with Emily ever again. I think it's a mistake in meeting with the mother-in-law. If he was going to meet with the mother-in-law, it should be years in the future. Maybe Emily's remarried to the next sucker and he's moved on. It's not healthy. Mother-in-law, I'm assuming, was a good woman to him and all that and didn't know what was going on. But regardless, that is his life. And so at least he got this over with, and he's now got a bottle of bourbon, and he's having some fun, and he got a cashier's check. So there you go. I do not at all think this saga is over. I think there's going to be more things coming down the road with Emily, probably with the mother-in-law, and who knows. But I will keep doing this story so long as you guys keep watching and wanting to hear about it. And we'll probably hit 40 by the end of the year. Shit, maybe even 50. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.